Hello, hello, hello. Thank you everybody for joining. Good evening, and once again, welcome to SaffronSACAP's voiceover talk show. My name is Giz Ojiako, and I am the programs director for SaffronSACAP. With me tonight, I have two of my directors who are currently on. If you'd like to unmute yourself, Marcia.
Hi, good evening. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. My name is Marcia Eliza, and I'm the Director for Youth Engagement and Intervention. I hope we have another fulfilling evening together.
Thank you, Marcia. And I also have on with me tonight, Yemi. Yemi is the CEO for SaffronSACAP. Yemi, would you like to unmute yourself, please? We can't hear you. You need to switch over. Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Now we can hear you.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Good evening. Welcome. Great to have you here. Thank you for joining our family. And also a big welcome to everyone on Facebook. Have quite a few people on. Just join us for the ride. It's going to be an interesting evening. Thank you. Thanks, Giz.
It is. It is. It always is when we come on Saffron. It's very informative. It's very engaging. So I'd like to welcome you. If this is your first time coming on to SaffronSACAP, would like to welcome you. Riri Okoye is in the house. Hi, Rita is all the way from Nigeria. Thank you so much.
Good evening, everyone. Well done with all that you do.
Thank you so much. Today is going to be a very special one because we are still continuing from our theme of last week, which we have started, and it's going to run for the rest of January. And we are looking at relationships and the COVID-19 impact, the breakdown on separation and divorces and relationships as a whole within our community. And today we are blessed to have a special guest. Duchess Ife is in the house, and she is our relationship. Let me get this right. She's you know what? I'm not even going to say it. I'm going to open the mic, and Duchess Ife is going to tell us herself. Come on, Ife. Unmute.
Oh, yes, Ife, you're so funny. Hi, everyone. Can you all hear me?
We can hear you.
So I'm Duchess Ife, and I'm the intimacy strategist. I'll shake it up a bit, because I focus, whilst I still deal with relationship, sex, and intimacy, I focus more on intimacy because there's not a lot of emphasis on that when dealing with issues that are faced in relationships.
Thank you so much, Ife. So you heard it from I won't call her a horse because she'll only beat me when she sees me, but you heard it direct from the source. And it is going to be interesting. And it is it is something that I think, as you know, within our community, we do need to be able to talk about, you know, breakdowns in relationships. What is the cause? What is the focus? To recap from last week, what did we say? We said, you know, that what leads to breakdowns, you know, is lack of communication. We don't talk to each other enough. You know, we looked at the impact of COVID-19 and the loss of jobs, the being locked down in the house together, and when we've not been together like this maybe for years, because everybody goes in. By the time one is going out, somebody else is coming in. So we've been used to being at cross purposes, yes? And all of a sudden now, we're all at home, we're all on Zoom, the kids are on Zoom, the internet is being dragged by everybody because everybody's online at the same time. The feeding, oh my days. I am sure that those of us that shopped maybe at the end of the month, we're shopping every single day now, because you can't tell the kids or even ourselves not to eat. And when you're locked down, the first thing you go to is food. Yeah, the impact on our finances, you know, for those who have lost jobs, you understand what's happening. It does impact on their relationships, you know. Everybody is stressed out. Kids want this, parents can't always give, and it is an issue. So there will be lots of things that we will be discussing today. We should be having another guest speaker on. She was on last week, Ahuna Anele. She may join us from all the way from Cameroon, but if not, she will be on again next week. So yes, without much ado, we'd also like to, yes, I know we've called on our Facebook people. I'd like to say thank you to Roland, who's come on, and all of our Facebook family. Thank you, thank you, thank you. More people will be joining us later. So as they come in, we will introduce them to the house. It is an informal gathering. We do ask that, you know, no personal information is shared on the platform. If you want to use a scenario that is real, that's fine. But we would ask that just for the confidentiality, can we not share names? And even if it's personal to ourselves, can we use a third party? Because that's that would cover anybody's identity. We do ask that we are respectful in our exchange. My opinion won't necessarily be your opinion, but I will respect your opinion, and I would expect that you respect mine and anybody else's too. So yes, without much ado, I'm going to hand the floor over to you, Ife, and I'm sure there will be a lot of questions that are coming out, but in a nutshell, what we would like to hear from you is, in your domain, what you do, how do you think COVID has impacted or impacts on relationships? Want to unmute? Let me ask you to. Okay, there you go.
Thank you, Giz. Okay, so as I did, I introduced myself as Duchess Ife, the intimacy strategist, and I thought I'd kind of give you a background to me and why I do what I do before I kind of go into the question that you've asked, which has been asked quite a number of times. So I am mom of two, happily divorced. Yes, I did say happily divorced, but was married for 13 years. And during my journey of being healed, because I wanted to heal before I go into another relationship, because I think it's completely unfair on whoever I end up with to carry the hurt, the burdens of my previous relationship into that relationship. So I went and found myself a coach and went through the journey of understanding myself and understanding what happened in my relationship. And during that time, I realized that even though there were things that happened to me emotionally that I wouldn't get into, I had an eye-opening moment where I realized that in my relationship, I had become very functional. And what I mean by functional is that I had become a good wife. So I was working because I'm in the UK. So I went to work, I came back, I made sure the kids were okay, got them ready, got the food ready, cleaned the house. So I maintained the home, maintained myself as an employee and a contributor to the mortgage. And I was, what's the word I'm looking for? A good wife to him. So providing sex, he might disagree, but, you know, providing sex, asking the right questions. But what had happened is somewhere along the line, I had forgotten to be his proper lover, his friend, his confidant, his supporter, his cheerleader. All those things were forgotten. The reason why we got together in the first place had been forgotten. And I was like, oh my God, there I was thinking I was being an amazing wife-ish. But really, the reality is that even though I was functionally good, emotionally, I wasn't that great. And he wasn't that great either. So I'm not saying it was just my fault, but it takes two people to make or break a relationship. But, you know, we were not emotionally functioning well. And I was like, oh my God, I am very, you know, I'm open to personal development. I'm open to new ways of things. And I was like, if I didn't know this, how many other people are in marriages, in relationships, out of relationships, wanting to go into a relationship, and they're forgetting that there's more to just being a functional person in a relationship. You have to have the intimacy that goes with it. And I was like, you know what? This is what I'm going to do. I had turned 40. So my 40th year was a bizarre year because I'd been made redundant. I had then got separated, as well as turning 40. So it was just a very weird year. And I was like, okay, what is my purpose? And I chose that this would be my purpose, that this is going to be my passion. I am going to ensure that no one who is in the marriage or who is in a relationship or who wants to get into a relationship goes through the trials that I went through, because it doesn't make sense. I have 13 years of experience of marriage behind me. And I was like, no one needs to go through a divorce if they don't have to. Yeah. And if there's something that can be done, let's do it now. Let's not wait. Let's not say, you know, marriage is long suffering. No, it's not. And so that was how I said, okay, you know what? I'm just going to come out of the closet. And I called myself a sex coach initially. And the reason why I started with that, because I was under the impression that sex was a problem, because, you know, if you go on social media, that's what people talked about. But when I started having clients, I realized that once the sex was a problem, it wasn't actually the root cause of why they weren't having good sex, enough sex, better sex, whatever adjective you want to use. It was the fact that they had lost the connection. They had lost the joy that they found in each other. So they were literally now enduring the relationship instead of enjoying it. And I was like, oh, wow. So there was a shift for me. And I was like, okay, we're going to focus on intimacy. And whilst I was doing this, I got my diploma in psychosexual therapy. And I said, you know what, I'm just going to do this. I'm focused on this, kind of put my contract in to the side and said, you know, I'm just going to really give this my all, because it's not just about saying, oh, let me make money. It's about making a difference, because I truly believe that family is the fabric of society. And I'm not going to say how that family should be, but there should be a family. And in order to have a good family, there needs to be intimacy within everybody, parent to child, siblings, platonic friendships, as well as romantic friendships. There should be intimacy. There should be a place where you can be authentic and be yourself. And so through my journey, you know, I've been fortunate, been featured in newspapers, and I just went over that journey of saying, okay, what else can I do? So I'm always happy to say yes when I'm asked to do things like this, because it gives me an opportunity to spread the word that, you know what, you don't have to go through this, whatever that thing you're going through, on your own. There is someone who understands where you're coming from, has the same background as you, and wants to help you go through that journey so you get to the other side and have the relationship that you want. And so I'm very happy and I'm thankful for you guys for inviting me here. So that's about me. Less about me. Let's go into what you've asked me. So COVID, being at home, intimacy. Now, from the first lockdown, there has been a lot of people saying, you know, depending on who you speak to, some people say relationships are breaking down. Some people say relationships are getting better. Some will say domestic violence is on the increase. There has been a lot of things that have been happening, and depending on the lens you view it will determine the kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? Determine the kind of response you have. Mm-hmm. What I have noticed with even, you know, newspapers that will ask me to write something has been, how does it affect relationships negatively? One of the things that I have noticed that we all like space. Even though we like to be dependent on each other, we also like the separation of what work and leisure provided us. And over lockdown, first lockdown, even now, I suppose it's colder, so we might not have gone out as much, but especially the summertime one, spring, summer, it was the fact that we couldn't leave. So you are then seeing your partner 24/7, especially if you had nowhere else to go. And not only are you seeing them 24/7, you are seeing the kind of person they are if they work. Because if you think about it, most of us don't know how our partners behave when they're at work. We have no clue. The only people we see is the person that comes home. So it's either the mom, the dad, you know, our partner, our lover, whatever, but we don't see them as employees. And sometimes the employee, business person, whatever that you see is someone you hate in your own office. And it's an eye-opener to you. And you're like, oh my God. So you are that person that would be in the meeting and will be questioning 5,000 times, or you just be difficult. And it puts a spin on your relationship. It's like you see them with brand new eyes, and depending on the kind of relationship you have, it brings up resentment. Because what happens that when you then go on your own Zoom meeting, since we're all doing Zoom, and that person pops up, the person that you don't like, who do you think of? Your partner. So then they're now being punished for something they didn't really do to you, but because it's the feeling. So then you find yourself snapping at them for something that they didn't do. That's one way it's affected it. Then also being in each other's company all the time. You know, the thing about that, as you alluded to, everyone is dragging on the internet. If you've got a big house and you haven't got, you know, external, I don't know, extra Wi-Fi boosters, you're probably all going to be congregated in one space. So that means you're waking up together, eating together, sleeping together, doing work together. It's too much. There's nothing to gist about. There's nothing that, you know, when you go away and you come back together, you have something to talk about. There's nothing. In effect, it's almost like the meeting you're having that you would have normally said, oh my God, can you imagine this person? He's already heard it. So there's nothing to talk about. So even that communication starts to break down because there's no more time to just kind of unwind on each other, because both of you are stressed because you're in an environment that you really didn't want to be your work environment unless you're used to working at home. And then that translates to after work where none of you really switches off because your laptop is still open. So even work starts to creep into personal time. So everyone has their laptop open. You're like, oh, it's dinged, you know, and you look at it and you're like, oh, let me just quickly answer to that email. So even the quality time that you used to have because you would travel from work home and actually shut your laptop and then say, I'm not going to open it, is no longer happening. That also breeds resentment, breeds anger. It breeds, you know, that thing of, you know, familiarity breeds contempt. It does. Then we're not making an effort dressing up. I mean, I had to put makeup on today. You didn't want to see me previously, seriously. You know, my hair, I had to cover it up because it's a mess. But, you know, but it's that thing of we're almost in the same thing 5 days a week. It's almost like you get out of bed, you put on what is home clothes and you wear it, you go to bed, you put on, you know, it's a cycle. If you have a shower, you're still not, you know, so there's, even when you're looking, you're getting bored of looking at the same person, no makeup, no hair. The hair is, for ladies, apologies, you know, your wig is on the banister. You know, it's just not appealing. It's just, you know, it's just not appealing. And it's not anyone's fault. It's just the fact that before, you know, we would make an effort just because we're leaving the house. And yes, some people would say, but you should be doing it for your partner or whatever. No, you should be doing it for yourself. Yeah. You know, so we need to start to make an effort. Men, women, we need to kind of make an effort. And once in a while, kind of just say, you know what, I'm going to do everything. Shower, spray perfume, put a little bit of powder, you know, whatever that thing is, just to make you feel a little bit better. Because just getting another person looking and say, oh, you look nice. Yeah. It's nice. It's soul lifting. It's, you know, it makes you feel happy. My kid said to me, where are you going? I'm like, what do you mean, where am I going? So you got makeup on? I'm like, oh no, I've got a Zoom. But even then they're like, okay, you know, you've made an effort. Yeah. So these are the little things that people don't realize that is affecting their relationship. And then that frustration is seeping in very slowly, dripping in slowly. And then when there's an argument, they're like, what happened? But it's all the thing about we're not having enough space. So that's why I would recommend to anyone, if you can just go for a walk, go for a walk. Do not be so bothered about your partner being on their phone and having a conversation with someone else. It's their outlet. Let them have it. If it's watching football, soap, Netflix, let them have that space to do that, because they also need to learn how to unwind and be in their own space and be themselves in order to come back to you and communicate and connect. Because, everyone likes to say, okay, relationship is about we're together, we're one. Yes, I agree. But even the one sometimes needs to have a bit of space, have a bit of air around it. And there's nothing wrong with that. Wanting to have your own space doesn't mean that you don't want to be with your partner. Yeah. You're just trying to regroup so that you can be a better partner to them, and that you can also have the capacity to take on whatever they need to tell you. So I would say is, have time by yourself. Remember to have your quality time. Remember to actually make an effort with a parent. It doesn't have to be great, even if you just spray and perfume, whatever it is, to make you feel good so that you can give to the other person. And I noticed that you said about communication being key. I totally agree. Communication is key, but I will take it a bit further and say it's effective communication. Because if you just communicating, exchanging words, and it's not landing properly, or they're not understanding, you're wasting your time. And that's another thing that breeds resentment and gives rise to the disconnection, because you're saying something and you're like, why are you not listening to me? Why don't you understand what I'm saying? Can you not see that I am frustrated? Can you not see? But if they're not listening, or they're not attentive to you, or something is going on, they can't hear what you're saying. All they know is that you're making noise, which then makes us frustrated again. And then you find it's just a vicious circle. So I always say to people is that, and I say that to my clients, I say, when you want to have a conversation, especially in this time where we're worried about our jobs, we're worried about the vaccination, we're worried about catching COVID, we're worried about all the things on the news that is happening in relation to whether London is going up or down, or whether North is, all those things, it's causing us to be, it's affecting our mental well-being. So we need to be aware of how we communicate. Let's not be, what's the word I'm looking for? Let's not be accusatory when we want to have a conversation. Let's be understanding. Let's not give rise to the other person to be defensive. Choose your time. If it's during their me time, the time that they're taking to kind of regroup and fill themselves up, it's unfair for you to want to burden them then. Instead say, oh, can we have a chat later? And you that they're asking the question, just say yes and schedule a time. See, people think that it's wrong to schedule a time in a relationship. Trust me, if you're together 24/7, you need to start to schedule so that you can focus and just give that time to that person and give them undivided attention to resolve whatever that issue is that has arisen that they want to discuss with you. And that's the thing, we need to be aware of this situation. And things are not going to be the same. We need to accept that. Our relationships have changed for the better, for the worse, but they have changed. It's not the same as it was before COVID. We are going to have to rediscover how to have fun together, because we haven't done that for a long time. So we need to accept that it's a new normal, the relationship has changed, and how do you move forward with the new normal that is going to be in your relationship once lockdown lifts? And that's how I'm going to end this session, is just say, remember that. Don't be hankering for the past, because the past has gone. Let's deal with how we are now and how we can move forward for the better in our relationships, for ourselves, especially if for those who do want to get into a relationship post-COVID.
Okay. Thank you for that. There was something you just said, we need to learn, how to adapt. So can you give us, before we go, and I just want to welcome Ahana Anele, who is our other guest and our relationship expert, has come in to the house. Ahana, you're welcome. I can see you're using, it looks like your daughter's.
I'm so sorry. I'm late. I'm so sorry. I had some emergency to take care of. I'm so sorry. Thank you for having me.
That's okay.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so I just want the house to know, please feel free to ask Duchess Ife, and once Ahuna speaks, the house is open. We would rather, if you're online, to ask the question. I know there will be questions from Facebook as well, but I just wanted you to give us, you know, you did say it's a new normal and we've got to adapt. So in case there could be people out there now who are listening, who might feel a bit shy to type in or to speak, can you give us some tips, you know, some possible ways in which we can adapt and see how we can fix whatever is broken or is trying to break or is going to break?
Okay, no worries. What I would say, starting off, is that whatever you change now is going to help you in the future. It's not an immediate fix. Let's not, I don't want anyone to have that assumption that whatever you do today is everything's going to turn around straight away. It doesn't work like that. You're dealing with two people and every two people need to be on board. However, let me start with the people who are single and who want to get into a relationship or are dating virtually at the moment. For yourself, in this new normal, start to love yourself, start to see value in yourself. Don't forget that you are worthy of whoever is going to have the privilege to be with you. So start to fill yourself, do the things that you love, do the things that you enjoy. Before you can go out and enjoy them, start to enjoy them in your home. That's what I would say for starters. Now, for those who are in a relationship, living together, separate, you know, some people can't be together because of lockdown and the rules in the UK. I would say start by, if you are in separate homes, make time to communicate via this medium, video. It's very important because there's a lot of miscommunication that happens via text and, you know, WhatsApp. However, have video so that you can see each other's body language, facial expression. There's no room for misinterpretation, assumptions, and arguments. Start to make that daily. Don't just have a phone call, because what happens that when it's a phone call, it's a text. I could be doing something else. I could be watching TV. So I'm not giving you my full attention. So you might say something that I miss. And then if you don't mention it, you don't say anything that I've missed it. And then you go away and feel that I've abandoned you, I've not listened to you. And then you have an anger building up. And that doesn't help the relationship. And then something else happens and then that explodes. So I'd say start doing the video. I mean, some, you know, if you're not in the UK or you have data problems, it's just something little, even if you're just making a video, whatever it is, so that you can see each other's face. Then also start, if you're living together, make time for dates in your home. Times where the kids are either gone to bed. To make your relationship better, you're going to have to be a bit uncomfortable. That's the truth. You have to be, as my own coach told me, you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And you're going to have to do things that makes you uncomfortable. And if it means that you're going to have date night a little bit later, then do so. Put the kids to bed and just have time when it's just the two of you. No TV, no phones, make it a rule. And communicate what's going on, what's happening in your life. Even if it's talking about work, talking about dreams, talking about the things that you spoke about when you first met that you wanted to achieve, but life has got in the way. How is that going? Have times when you reminisce of the things you did together, because we all, you know, when we were dating, we did a lot of things. You know, very few people didn't date and experience things together. Reminisce about those things. That brings back happiness and reminders of why you chose them. Remember it's very important to reminisce. Share your hopes, share your dreams, share your fears as well. Have time to do those things, because once everybody fully comes out of lockdown, most people, especially us in our community, we're going to be going hell for leather on working, making money. We're going to be doing, if we don't get this foundation right now, we're going to start to separate and disconnect again. And trust me, there is nothing worse than making all that money, having that big house, and you're there by yourself. Even Jeff Bezos had to get himself another girlfriend when he divorced. So they don't like to be on their own. We're not designed to be on our own. So we have to remember that as we're creating that wealth, that we are making sure that the foundation of our relationship is firm. And this is the best time to do it. There are, you know, if you're shy or you don't know how to take the step or how to even say, let's do something, there are people out there that can help you. We should never be ashamed or shy to ask for help, because it is for your benefit. It's not for anybody else's benefit. If you're in your relationship enjoying taking pictures, say, oh, see what my husband did for me, see what my wife did for me. you're the one feeling the joy. It's not me, it's not Giz, it's not anyone else. It is you. But you have to start to do different things. Laugh more, watch films together, dance. If you have not danced before with your partner, please put on music and dance. It doesn't matter what music. Shaku shaku or shaku it. If you want to let me show my age. If you want to boggle it. It's okay. It's fine. But have fun together. Laugh together. It's very important to laugh together. Because, you know, it's amazing how laughing distresses you. And if you're laughing with someone else about the things that you've experienced together, even better. And then, you know, there's some other things that we can talk about how you can still reconnect, but we'll leave that for later on. So, but these are the top tips that I would say that you need to do in this new normal, especially as you have the time.
Wow.
Giz, you're on mute.
Giz.
Miss Giz, you're on mute.
Sorry, guys. I had to mute. You would not believe it. One of my dogs just decided to come in and join the Zoom, so I needed to mute. I'm so sorry. Right. So yeah. Thank you, Ahuna. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
You caught the last part of what Duchess Iffy was saying, but no, it's been very informative, and Iffy is an intimacy strategist. So the question that was put to her was, I think we put it to you last week, which was about, you know, the impact of COVID-19 on relationships, which we've heard about. A question I want to put to yourself now is relationships where you have everybody staying at home now, okay? Not necessarily if it's a married couple, because we're not just focusing on married couples. We're talking about people who are in relationships. Now, you could be living together, or you could be apart. You could have grown-up children. How does all this whole scenario, what advice would you give to anybody out there now who is in this lockdown, which most of the world who are so they're in lockdown. You've got a relationship, Mr. doesn't live with you, you've got grown-up kids, and you have this relationship. I know we have virtual, you know, but what tips could you give to the adults in the relationship, how they can make this work?
Oh yeah, thanks for having me, and I apologize once again for coming on late. You see, we shy away from being together. There's so much pressure, and people in relationships don't enjoy themselves. They still want their me time. And I've always talked about communication. When you have a relationship, whether you're married or your girlfriend, boyfriend thing, it's always, you still want your space, you know. So this COVID era is hampering on our space, on our me time, on our everything. And sometimes, okay, like when I talk, I talk from my own environment. You know, I'm in Cameroon now, but I talk more from a Nigeria environment. That's my base. You know, there's so much pressure. There are things you notice. Sometimes you overlook them. Things are done before you're there. Before you come back, let's say, okay, you go to work, your partner goes to work. One person comes in first and cleans up and all that. But now you're in the same space. You want to wake up later than normal. You don't, you know, you want to take your bath later than normal. You want to watch TV into the morning. There are too many places to wash. People are eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and still expected to do the other things. You know, so it's actually very difficult. Okay, well, and the kids, okay, for the married ones, the kids are there. You have to make breakfast, lunch, dinner. From where we come from, the man is the king. So he has to eat his breakfast. He has to, before he will go to work, you only have to cook in the night, then you have time to plan. Now you're asking somebody, what do you want to eat? And he says, what do you have? When you reel out all the things you have, he says he wants something else that is not even available. So, you know, it's tricky. It's tricky. So we have to tolerate more. We have to tolerate more. Everybody has to be in it. We have to know that, for goodness sake, this is the norm. It's fun, you know, because I tell people, if you relax in it, plan. So it's no longer what do you want to eat. You just present something and do it lovingly, you know, because I mean, we're all human beings. The person should know too that there's pressure. It's not easy. And then finances, uncertainty. We're still paying school fees. We're still going to take up the bills and all that. And you know, it's so much. So we need to tolerate each other, you know, be nice, be kind with our words, you know, do things together, like fun things, you know, even if your partner doesn't like a certain thing, just give her time. You know, if we should talk it out, communicate. Communication is the bane, you know, in relationships. If you don't communicate, then you don't have a relationship, you know, where the children are, when you're not involved in the life of your children, all of a sudden you're involved in the lives of your children, and then you start blaming, something you just discovered. You've not been there before. You just discovered it in this COVID era. You're now talking down on your partner, whoever the partner is, you know, we should be patient, we should be tolerant, we should play down on our ego. You know, it's not easy, but it's doable. It's the new norm. This should be the time where families bond. I mean, we're forced to bond. This is the time where we bond. This is the time where you learn, we learn each other. This is the time where, you know, oh, this, as I'm growing, she is growing as well. The children are all grown. You know, this is not the time to make too many rules and regulations. This is time to discuss things together and try and live together and manage yourselves, you know, because nobody is visiting anybody. You don't, even if you have people to tell, they can only tell you, you know, advise you, but this is the time to bond better, because you have to know each other. This is time to know, because this era will pass, or we get used to certain things. We'll still go out again. We'll still go out again. And I keep on telling people, no matter what happens, we need each other. We need company. We need company. The children will grow and grow out. You need somebody, even I tell people, you need somebody to even quarrel with. It's fun. You know, you need somebody to quarrel with. You need somebody to rub your legs. You need somebody to laugh with, like Josh just said. We need each other. You know, when push comes to shove, we find out that it's just the two of you. It's just the two of you. All those people that have been interfering in your relationship, they won't be there. You know, so you have to have a way of tolerating each other. And then there has to be sacrifices. Somebody has to bend. It mustn't be the woman all the time. It can be the man, for peace sake. For peace sake. Sometimes when you even go into that quarrel with your partner, whether married or in a relationship, you find out that at the end of the day, was it really necessary? Was it necessary? This phone should be here. No, it should be there. Was it necessary? I mean, all these things, things are happening with all the deaths. You know, somebody can just become ill today and die the next day. I mean, what are we talking about? So let's just be, I feel that there's too much competition, there's too much ego, there's too much, I'm the man of the house, there's too much, I'm the woman of the house, I'm making money the way you're making money. There's things that shouldn't really bother. I mean, if God blesses you, then why not? You know, so what I feel is, in a relationship, there should be sacrifices. You should tolerate each other. You should give people their me time. And then we should all have something we like doing, we love doing on our own. You know, if your partner decides to watch TV from morning to night and there's just one TV, look for something else. All the phones now, you can buy your data, you know, and then when he wants you, there's so much stress. There's so much stress in the world now that we don't need to add the stress on ourselves, you know. So communication is key. Everything mustn't be quarrel. Everything mustn't end in separation, because you go out there, you find out that you find that marriages are bonding. People that have separated, they're coming together in this COVID era because they found out that they're stuck together. There's no more pride. Before, the office was an escape route. Business was, you could just take a trip when you don't want to see her face. But now you're stuck with her. And then sometimes you even fall out laughing and like, this woman self or this man self, this is why we quarrel. Maybe pride didn't make you people come together. Maybe somebody will say, I don't want to, we quarreled, I'm not going to say sorry. But when you're stuck together, maybe you hit your leg somewhere and somebody says, oh, sorry, I hope you're okay. You start communicating again and all. It's fun, I don't know why relationship, even between woman and woman, man and man, friends, it's fun, having people, love themselves, sacrifice for themselves, communicate. It's communication that's the problem. Getting somebody to sit down and listen to how you feel, because our love languages are totally different for most people. We just get excited and get married, and then when you get married, you start finding out that where love is blind and all that. But once you live together, there's no pride in love. There's no arrogance in love. There's no quarrel that should last so long that at the end of the day, it doesn't make sense. So communication to me is key. People marry for different reasons too. And that's another problem. People marry for different reasons. And then when it's not going the way, if you marry somebody, or if you have a relationship because the person is a, high flyer and you could travel a lot and all that, and this thing has now made nobody's traveling like that, nobody is having fun and all that, it still affects us. But we should know now, we're not all kids. I mean, if you're 18, you're an adult. If you don't know, then you look around and watch TV, look around, watch films and see what other people are doing. And then when you see relationships working, you find out what is happening, why is yours working and why is mine not working? You look inwards, so like I said, we should leave pride, we should leave our ego, we should leave arrogance, we should just find a way to live together happily, give each other space. That's what I feel. It is always communication. It's always communication. Once the communication, is right, things don't go wrong, because you can tell your spouse or your partner or that I don't like the way you sat on that chair, and then when you left, you hit my leg or did this, or the way you spoke to me and all that. And then if you say it nicely, there are ways to deliver the same message and still get the same result, You say it nicely. You can nicely, but you should look at the face of the person you're talking to sometimes too, and know if the person is in a good mood and all that. We have to relearn each other. That's what I feel. We have to relearn. This is a time to relearn, to learn.
Thank you so much for that. I said that's you basically. If anybody would think you were here from the beginning of when Duchess Ife was speaking. What I'm going to ask, if there's anybody that has heard both sides. So basically, you've given us from across the continent, based on your demography in Nigeria. Ife, obviously, you're based in the UK, so you've given us how it is here, because we know how UK families have a different structure where the men are not kings. And they do help out, so we've heard the both sides. It's an open mic, guys, it's an open floor. Please feel free to ask both of the experts anything. I know there will be people out there that have issues in their relationships. It might not be your personal relationships, but you may know people who are struggling at the moment. Please feel free to ask a question. Just put up your hand and unmute. Yes, Rita, go ahead.
Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Ahmed. Hi, Duchess. Thank you very much, both of you. I'd like to know, because Duchess was talking about she's an intimacy coach, so I'd like to know in this season of COVID, how you can actually develop more intimacy with your partner. Can you give me some examples of that, please?
No worries. Hi, Rita. Now, so in order to what we have to remember regarding intimacy is that there's different types. When people hear the word intimacy, they normally associate it with sex, which is not what most people are truly desiring when they're talking about how do I increase intimacy. So what they're referring to is the non-sexual side of intimacy. So how do I feel connected with my partner, especially as we can't go out? Now, because we can't go out at the moment, it is, as I said before, one of the things I would suggest is actually creating specific time for each other, because we're still working. I mean, even if you're in Nigeria or here or anywhere in the world, we're all still working. We're either working at home or someone's going out and coming in. Is you have to make time for each other. And when you make time for each other, be intentional about that time. It's not a case of just say, oh, let's just sit down and watch TV. Yes, that's good. But actually, whoever is initiating that time together, be intentional about it. Even if it's having a conversation, okay, you know what? Once a week, every Friday or Saturday or whatever the day may be, even if it's a Monday, we're going to spend time together just talking. Because what happens is that in relationship, as we spend more time in the relationship, we are changing. But we forget we're changing and expect things to remain the same way it was before. It's not possible. You change when you change jobs, you change when you make new friends, you change when you increase your education. So many things, so many stimuli are affecting the way that we think. So it's good to be intentional about that time to share how you are now so that they get to know you as you are today. Not the lady or the man that they knew 5 years ago, if your relationship is that long, or how you were when you first met, because we're not the same anymore. Children changes us, marriage changes us, separation and getting back together changes us, losing a job changes us. There's so many things that change us. Even arguments with our siblings changes us. So, but when you change, we forget to communicate that change. So the one thing I'll say is be intentional about the time you're spending with your partner. Very important. Don't just keep it as one of those things. Oh, let's just chill. No, be intentional. Have a reason for it and communicate that reason so that they know what they're getting. Then I would also say, spend intimate time together, quality intimate time, which is be in each other's space. So you're either hugging or you're kissing, whatever, but learn to touch more. Because what happens that when we start to disconnect from our partners, if you think about it, if you think about any of the relationships that have ever broken down, the things that stop is the kissing, the holding hands, the hugging. When you're doing it, you're kind of just like, okay, welcome. You see, it's very functional, as it is expected of me because I'm your partner. But you're not feeling it. And those are the things that these where it's still connected to being intentional. Be intentional about the kissing, the hugging, the cuddling and watching TV. Hold hands. You know, brush past and say, babe, are you okay? You're looking good today. Those things makes, when you walk past and you tell your partner you're looking good, trust me, if their body doesn't move, trust me, their spirit is like, it makes them feel good.
Very true.
And when they're feeling good, that automatically makes them good to you. They say, oh my God, you noticed me. Even everything that's going on, you noticed who I was or who I am or did something different. These are the intentional things that you do to increase intimacy, as well as actually saying, you know what, babe, I know that, you know, sometimes you like to watch football. Whilst you're watching football, for a man, if he's into football, formula, whatever the case is, I'm going to let you do that and I'm going to do something else. That's still intimacy, even though you're not together. It's like saying to them, I understand you need this space. I'm going to give you this space. It's okay. It doesn't mean anything that anything's wrong. Do your thing and we'll get back together later. These are the things that you need to do. And the more you do them, the more you increase the intimacy. Just because both of you are in the same house does not mean you both have to be in the sitting room or you both have to be in the bedroom or wherever. You can be separately together and it's okay. And that's all part of intimacy, knowing that there's the trust and the love and the belief that even though we're not in the same room, we are still connected. And I'll come down later or he'll come up after, whatever the case may be. But these are the things that make you intentional to increase that intimacy, especially during this time. I hope that answers your question.
Yeah, can I add to that? And in a relationship, anybody can take the lead. Anybody can take the lead. You don't wait for him to take the lead or for her to take the lead. If it's in your heart to hug or kiss, do it. Initiate it. The other person will catch up. You know, so don't wait for, you feel like kissing, but you're holding yourself back. Why would you hold yourself back? Kiss him, kiss her. And then, you know, the other partner will catch up. So that's one thing. Every morning he goes to work or she goes to work, she doesn't even say anything. Say yours. When you say yours, next time the person will want to catch up. Everybody loves being loved. Everybody loves being loved, you know, so you can initiate it. That's my own take.
Okay, another question. It's a bit out of context, but it's still with relationships. Couples living in the UK tend to help each other, but why is it that when they move to the motherland, the relationships tend to break down?
That for me?
I think, well, yeah, whoever wants, but I think, yeah, because you're based out there, so you might be able to give us a bit more insight, and then if you'll probably give us
the thing is in Africa we have extended relations, so those people have a say in the relationship. You know, we go into traditional marriages. They tell you from the onset that this marriage is not between the two of you, it's between the two families. So everybody has a say. So they interact, they interrupt the smooth flow of the relationship, especially when, okay, you come to a house and you see the man helping the wife out, and someone that's never been out of the village before now says, you mean you are doing this thing? And the person says it's a taboo. And before you know it, when one or two or three more people start telling you the same thing, you start thinking that it's a taboo. You understand? So it affects, and the onus lies on us to not let people, a third party, come into us. We know what we do, and if you shut the first person up, or shut the person down, and the first person, the second person, they won't come. They won't say such things again. They would even want to learn. Oh, is this how you live there? Is this how you live overseas? You see how they live overseas. Don't want that they are looking fresh. They're helping. Madam is not looking very old, and Moga is looking young, or guy is not looking, you know. That means that they help out. No, everybody likes good life. Everybody likes to be pampered, you know. But because in our society, the women serve the men, so the men become lazy. But they still adapt when they travel out. You see them adapting. If they don't adapt, they divorce. Is always the case. If they can't adapt, they divorce. But when they come back here, they are the Lord and Master. And even the women, if you come back to Africa and you try to lord it over your husband, or lord it over your husband, or talk down on him in front of people, you find out that people frown at it. So you start behaving yourself. Really, it's not easy, but I don't feel that there are certain things that you shouldn't even, when you're coming back, I always tell people, do it for peace sake, do it for love's sake. If you know that, you pretend. My father used to say, a woman should have a level of pretense. Pretend for when people are around, you just make your partner feel good, you know, make your partner feel good, and it doesn't take anything away. If you love somebody, you can do anything for the person. I don't think it's too much to, you know, let them be happy. Let them, you know, let them have their ego. You know, don't squash it. You know, so I tell people, you should know your partner. If you know your partner very well, you should know the kind of thing. You can even make a joke out of it. When they leave, you see, I thought you were not going to behave yourself. And you laugh over it. It doesn't take anything. Once there's love endures all things. I mean, why would you want a third party to come? You are washing plate when I came in. They start joking, you know, they start cracking expensive jokes, and you take it seriously. I mean, you do other things. That shouldn't be the case, but it affects people. people are now, especially when women make money for themselves, and they feel the men in our society, men take pride in taking care of their families. So we're used to men taking care of us, even though we make our own money. But abroad, because of the way things are, people share bills. So here, if a man takes care of a woman, even though she's making money, there should be a level of respect, you know. We're not sharing bills. It's even a thing of pride that she's making her money and I'm not touching her money, you know. So if a man, to an extent, takes care of you and the children, to an extent, you should appreciate him by doing certain things, going the extra mile. It doesn't take much, you know. I know sometimes it's very difficult, and it depends on people you mix with. If you mix with the wrong crowd, they feed you a lot of things, but they still go back to their houses. And I can't compare myself to people living in the UK, and I don't expect them to compare themselves with me, because there are certain things I can tolerate that they won't tolerate, and vice versa. So we should, when people are talking to you or when you're seeking advice from outsiders, you should take a lot of things into consideration. You know, you should take a lot of things into consideration. That's my take.
Esosa, you've asked the question. Are you able to unmute, or would you like me to ask the question that you've typed? Esosa? No? Okay. Esosa said, what about if you are always making the moves? Doesn't one get tired or discouraged? Okay. If you did you want to, okay.
You know, in a relationship, backgrounds are different.
Right.
Backgrounds are different. There are some people, their love language is making sure they pay the house rent, because that's how their fathers used to pay the house rent, making sure their mom has the kind of drink she likes taking. Her love, you know, his love language is so different. He makes sure his kids their school fees are paid. He makes sure Christmas, he gives you money for your own clothes. He makes sure he asks you things. He even puts your parents on maybe salary or something. That's his own love language. Your own love language might be that you came from a touchy family where they show love and all that. You shouldn't get tired. Unless you saw that person that day and you got married to that person that day. You have, when people say this person, you must have known, but you thought that you were going to change that person. You can't change a human being, but you can change the way you react. You know, you can change. You can lovingly. I don't believe in waiting for. I don't even count all those. I keep on doing and doing and doing. Are you happy doing it? Are you happy kissing your partner? Are you happy hugging him? Is he shoving you out? Is he pushing you away?
Okay, so if was on, the person that asked the question.
Yes, hi.
Yeah, hi.
Sorry. Sorry,
Yes,
I left my connection.
So the question that you've asked is it answered?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
Right.
I like the part where she says, doesn't matter if the person doesn't respond, as long as you are happy doing it, you know, keep doing it.
Right. Okay.
But you just expect reciprocity, you know. You just think it's a natural thing that if I do things for
they will, Esosa, but maybe not the way you expect. Maybe you're the kind of person that is very expressive and you always admire your husband or your wife, and then when you come back, if he's a man, maybe he makes dinner surprisingly. That's his own way of saying, this is my wife, let me appreciate her. Or if it's the man, if it's the woman, she cooks something special. If it's the man, he buys you a present, or he says, let's go out. You don't expect, you know, if you keep on expecting, he gives you a peck today, tomorrow I should give him a peck. No, there are other ways of showing love without doing the same things. Even, you know, you understand. So keep on doing it. Then your partner will catch up. Keep on doing it. Your partner will definitely, unless it's the devil's incarnate, he will or she will catch up. I'm
going to go to Ife to get her take on that. You've heard what's going on. Let's hear your side.
So I would admit that when I read Esosa's message, I was I was taking it to the point of if the person is not responding to your moves.
Right.
So if they're responding, I totally agree with Adana that, you know, the fact still remains that they might not respond the way you want, but as everyone has different love languages. So just because you're a tactile person doesn't necessarily mean that they must be tactile back. It just means that they would pay the school fees or they cook. That's the way that they show you love. However, what we also need to remember in the love language bit is you have to remember to love the person the way that they want to be loved, not the way you want to love them, because that can breed contempt and frustration. So say, for instance, I'm the kind of person, I will speak for myself. My love language is acts of service. So I like the little things like opening the door, helping me out with little things. Whilst I do love a gift, it doesn't excite me as more as the fact that I've come home and you've washed the pot. Sure, if you wash the pot, I will love you. So if that person keeps buying me a gift, it's nice, but it doesn't excite my soul as much as the fact that that pot that I don't like to wash has been washed. And we need to remember that. That's why it's good to have the communication. Say, what are the things that I can do to make you happy? What makes you extremely happy? Because there's no point in me trying to make you happy and it's not actually making you excited. Then I'm disappointed because I'm not getting the reaction that I was expecting from the thing that I did for you. However, going back to a such thing, I would say that anyone, if you are trying to you're making the first move and they are not responding in any form, shape or manner, I would say that you would actually have to ask the question, what's going on? You need to find out what is going on. Why is it that I'm trying to be closer to you, or I'm trying to make love to you, or I'm trying to have a conversation with you and I'm getting the cold shoulder? And if they don't give you an answer, say, you know what, I will come back to you because I really want to know because it's affecting our relationship. Be open, be honest, be vulnerable. And if it gets to a point, and not everyone's going to agree with me, but if it gets to a point where they're just not giving you an answer, I would say you should stop. Give them breathing space. Let them miss you chasing them. Because that's what they're doing. You need to give them the space to let them miss you. Because sometimes we take for granted that somebody's always going to be there. He's always going to make the move. She's always going to say sorry. You need to then kind of say, you know what? I'm just going to step back and then let them miss me and let's see what will happen. And then hopefully they miss you and they give you an answer, but it then becomes just worse because you're a human being too. Nobody likes to be rejected. For some people it's a physical pain. It's not just a pain of it actually hurts them physically when they are rejected. So that's why we should be careful not to reject people and always try and give them a reason for why something is happening, so that if there's something that can be done to change it, you can discuss it and change it together.
Awesome. That's and Esosa, I hope you're there. I really hope that these two takes have answered your question.
Yes, very much. Thank you. Thank you.
We aim to please. If there's anybody else, before we continue, I just need to recognize two of our directors have come in. Adebola is in the house, and we have Jacqueline all the way from Kaduna. Hi, Jacqueline.
Hello, everyone. It's great to see everyone this evening. Had trouble with my batteries, but I've been able to get some power back.
Brilliant. That's fine. Jacqueline is our resident journalist in the house. She's our program director from Invicta TV Kaduna, all the way from Kaduna. So you are welcome, Jacqueline. Debola.
Thank you.
I don't know where Debola has gone, but
Hello, I'm here.
Are you there? Hello, Sissy. How are you?
I've been listening to all the love languages.
You are so welcome.
Thank you so much. I like that. Yeah, it's got to know how to make love to you. I think it's both ways. Not just you making love to you, but him also making love to you. Thank you, sis. Thank you. That's lovely.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And like we said, it isn't. I have a question. It's from Facebook, and the person is asking or saying, COVID itself is a topic of conversation in the family. Since COVID is new to all, I believe it will be an interesting topic to the family that will bring bonding.
It depends on if you're on the same side of the story. That's the truth. It's almost like saying, you know, Trump is going to bring the family together. It depends. If you're a family that likes to have intellectual conversation, then COVID is an amazing subject to have. You know, you can discuss the various theories that are out. However, if it's a subject that brings about distress, brings about fear, brings about anxiety, brings about affects the mental health, then I would say that you should kind of reduce the discussion. There's so many things in the world to discuss. You don't, you know, we get bombarded on the news, especially if in the UK, you just need to go to every single news channel and everyone is giving you their theory on COVID. So if you are the kind of family that you like those kind of things, yes. But if it brings about negative feelings in your family and affects the mental well-being, then I would suggest that you find something else to discuss to bring you closer together.
Awesome. I'm going to call on you, Jacqueline, because I know a little Dicky Bird has told me that you run a program with relationships. So we want to hear your take on the impact of COVID-19 on relationships, breakdowns, divorce, separations. Are you there, Jacqueline?
Yes, I am.
Okay. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. For someone who came in late, this is a great honor. Thank you. Thank you. It's amazing. I've had a great time listening to Duchess Ify, at least the little I've heard about love languages. I think it's something that those of us over here are just beginning to, should I say, grapple with, because for a lot of people, probably because of the nature of our culture, most especially even when we are talking about a place like northern Nigeria, where it's largely conservative. These kind of discussions aren't to be had. You know, they're not even things that a woman and her husband would sit down and talk about. I would tell you that, well, not too recently, last year, I had a couple who called in on my program, and the man said he just didn't like the fact that his wife was being too forward with intimate stuff. I mean, he didn't like the fact that she knew her body enough to say, oh, this is how I want you to touch me, or this is how I want you to move, or this is what I want you to do. You know, so you can imagine the confusion for those of us here. It's a conversation that is just beginning to develop, where people, you know, we're just beginning to say, you know, it's okay. It doesn't mean that your wife or your girlfriend is being promiscuous, or there's someone else who is teaching her these things. So it's totally different here. And usually I tell people that because we're just beginning to get to that point where these conversations are becoming normal between husband and wife, you might want to approach these issues with a lot of tact. You know, you might not want to just be very, well, it depends on the kind of relationship that you're having. And I know that for a lot of people, seems ridiculous that we're talking about things like this at this time, but take it or leave it, this is what we have in many homes today. And so for a lot of women that I have met, that stories that I have come across or have had the privilege of being brought into, love language is still a very, very big problem for us. Understanding love language, I would say, and acting on it or acting accordingly is still a huge thing for us here. And like I said, there are a number of things that I think I came around about the time Duchess Ify was talking about her love language, the fact that you could give her gifts, but if you could just wash the plates, that would be a way of telling her that, you know, I care about you. So I think that's something that I'm going to even take. I do understand that, had understood it before, but the way she broke it down, I think, for me was perfect. So it's something that I even intend to, like really bring that example up and help people understand, because there are some people who will say, I give her everything. I give her money. I take care of the bills. There are other houses where women, these are stories that I've had to, you know, issues that brought up issues that I had to wade into. I give her everything. I'm a take charge husband. And so I don't understand that simply because I go out and don't come back until late, she has a problem with me in this marriage. So these are some of the things that I've heard. And I know that women like that would rather have you come home early and be with her than all the things that, you do to show that, look, I'm in charge, I'm the man of the house, our children are going to expensive schools, we have a house, we are not paying rent, and all those things. And I think that these are things that a lot of men still have trouble understanding, especially, once again, I'm speaking from my own perspective, where I live and what I see every day. Men just think that if I am being what a man should be, I'm taking care of her, I'm putting meat on the table, we have kids, the children lack for nothing, why should you be complaining? So I'm just giving you my own perspective. Like I said, I came in late, but I also want you to just know that I've learned in the short time I've been here, I've learned. And so, of course, always a joy to be here and learn from people like this. Thank you, Giz. I hope that I was able to give some perspective as to what I see over here as to, the conversation that I've heard.
Thank you so much, Jackie. That was amazing. And I have another question. It says, extending meal times and doing house chores together can increase bonding in a family way. I guess it's more of a statement. I think that's possibly another strategy that we could use to help with bonding. If there are any other, I'll throw this at you, Ife, if there are any other strategies, I know you mentioned about going for a walk, but on both sides, we have a UK audience. So if you can talk for the UK, and then I'll throw to Ahana for the Nigerian audience.
Yeah, so I mean, it's simple things like even playing games. There's so many games, charade, Monopoly, whatever the case may be, all those things that kind of bring out the competitive spirit in you, but the playfulness in you as well. Do it as a family. So I totally agree about the extended meal times, because sometimes families don't eat together. The kids eat one time, the man eats one time, the woman eats one time, depending on what's going on in their home, because they've come back at different times and need to do different things. But if you're all in the house, I totally agree. Eating together is an amazing bonding time, because we don't do that enough. So, but just playing games, watching a program. So like I remember watching Social Dilemma. I made my kids come down and we watched it together and had a conversation about it. And I got a perspective of my son, who doesn't really talk much because he's at that age, that I had never ever heard about. And to be fair, I was looking at him in amazement. But that happened because we watched something together. I wasn't stressed because I'd gone to work and just come back in, and we could just sit as a family. So, it doesn't matter what it is, because I don't want it to be prescriptive to say, you must do that. It is what works for the dynamics of your family to bring back that connection, that joy, that discussion, create a safe space for even your kids to be open with you, to have a conversation. It doesn't matter what the conversation is. I mean, my daughter, anyone who follows me knows my daughter asks me some random questions that, sometimes blows my mind, but I'm just like, you know what, you got to remember and answer the question. But it gives her the confidence to be able to speak to me about anything, and I will have a conversation. I don't go down the route of saying, why are you asking that? Why are you not reading? No, I will answer her question and then gently direct her back to go to her books. But I will always answer the question, because it builds that intimacy with me and my daughter, me and my son and his sister. So there's intimacy all around. And that's what I want to foster, even with my friends. So whatever the thing that works in your family is what you should do. Don't copy someone else because their dynamics is different. It has to be fine. What works for my family? What will bring my family together? What will make me closer to my husband? What will make me closer to my wife? What will make me closer to my flatmate? Because let's not, as you said, it's not just about people in marriages. Relationships come in different forms. I have my girls. We have a Sunday video call, WhatsApp call every Sunday. It's what we do. It's a commitment we made to each other because we want to see each other, catch up, and just say, let's catch up together. So it doesn't matter what kind of relationship that you are in. Reach out, have a conversation, laugh, gist, gossip, self. I'm going to say gossip. I know people say don't gossip, but have a little bit of gossip, have a little tittle tattle. It's okay. It's just to get the spirit going and just connect. And, and that would work for you to increase that intimacy and build that closeness.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to go to you quickly, Ahuna, just to give us a brief take on, based on that question, strategies for those in Nigeria, because we do have a large Nigerian following as well.
Yeah. It's almost the same thing that you just said. It's almost the same thing. Do you? What works for you? Do you? I tell people, find a middle point. Find a middle point. In Nigeria, the men, unfortunately, the men are the lords. They make themselves the lord, and we make them the lords as well. So. You find out that this period, nudge your children to talk with their father more. Nudge them. Let them say anything, talk. Sometimes you find out that the children want to talk to their father through their moms. It's always the case. So this is the period to nudge them to go direct, go and talk to him. And you find out that the men are even lonely there, because we assume things. They might even want the talking, but because they talk with their mother more, they let them, but nudge them. Go, if you want something, go to your daddy. And this is the time for Christians or Muslims to bring them closer to God without telling them, open this verse of the Bible. Use things that are happening around and talk to them, reach them, talk to them, ask them about their friends, tell them about life, let them know that they should take care of themselves. They should love themselves. Everybody should love each other, be each other's brother's keeper. This is that time. That's what I feel. Do what make, don't let a friend tell you, like Duchess said, every Sunday I talk with my friends, and then you now start saying every Sunday you should talk to me. Some people don't even have the data. It's not easy. It's not easy in where we stay, but it is doable. You can find fun in anything. It might even be you start talking about everybody's mannerism, you laugh about it, it's fun. The children are in school. There's so much pressure though. The children are in school, they have to oversee what they're doing, make sure that the internet is working. It's not automatic here for us, but you have to, the pressure is so much, and it's always on the mothers. The way the family is, most times in this country, is the women do most of the talking with the children. So you find out that even though you're a working mother, you have to make sure the children are up and ready in the morning to do their online classes and all that. So this is the time to maybe talk nicely, because the man is used to it. He's used to it. So you just talk nice. Could you help me do this? Or not the children, because fathers love their children. Go tell your dad to do this for you. And you find out that he's been longing to do these things, but because you don't involve him, he stays on his own. I mean, who doesn't want to enjoy not being interfered with and all that? So I'm saying that whatever makes you happy, do it. Don't be in each other's face. If you want to go for a walk, go for a walk. If you want to play around. Whatever you want to do, do it. And just the time to be happy. Awesome. Do everything, anything you can to be happy. Just be happy. You don't want to just be there and be moaning. If you moan, you still see the person every day. So just
thank you so much. Thank you, based on that. Thank you so much for that. I just want to recognize one of our directors, Tolu Makinwa is in the house. Tolu, do you want to unmute yourself, please? Are you there, Tolu? Okay, well, she is on, but that's the thing with Zoom. You can come on and you can run away to the kitchen and grab a coffee and nobody will ever know. But yes, Tolu is our strategic policy director for SDGF, our sister company in Nigeria. So Tolu has graced us this evening. No, thank you so much, Ahuna and Duchess. We're still on. It's really, really interesting. There's obviously, because we're at home and we're talking about relationships, I want to talk about virtuality. So the dating sites, everybody, you can't go to the club, you can't go to parties, you can't go to the pub, you know. What is your take and what is your advice to those out there who are going on dating sites? There is an increase. I'll bring out the statistics shortly. There is an increase with our community. You know, this is something 20, 30 years ago we never did. Now we're doing it. So, you know, I think it's a good thing. That's my advice. That's my opinion. But let's hear from you, Ify, first, your take on virtual dating.
Oh my God, there's nothing wrong with going online dating. And the reason why I say so is because I've utilized it, is because you don't always meet the kind of person that you want in a nightclub. You don't always meet them. You know, it's not like before where where everyone could say hello on the train. Everyone's got their head in the phone. So you can't catch the eye of anyone to even give a signal of that you like them or whatever the case may be. Online dating, online platforms gives you the opportunity to have a conversation and decide if you want to meet. Now, the beauty of COVID, and I know some people will be like, what? There's beauty in COVID, is that you can now virtually date, which means you can go on a date in your house and the other person's in their house, which reduces the nervousness and the anxiety of having to see someone and you feel threatened. So I'm a firm believer in that. Is amazing. And I always say, I remember, I think the first person that said that to me was, I think my PR lady. She said, oh, I'm going on a date. I mean, what do you mean you're going on a date? She said, I've got a virtual date. And I was like, okay. And she was like, oh, we choose a film we're going to watch and we watch it together. So they both have Netflix for one of something else, you know, so they put it on and they have a conversation, have a meal, have a drink, and they're conversing as though that they're together. Now, I know it's not the same in Nigeria because of data issues, but here it's easier for us. But I would honestly recommend it. Because you get to meet all sorts of people, and it also helps you to fine tune what you want and what you don't want. Because the thing about it, in us as a community, I mean, now we're getting used to the fact that, I'm going to say something a bit controversial, is we're getting used to the fact that we don't have to be exclusive with the first person that asks us out. We can rotational date.
Yes.
So, and that virtuality helps you to rotational date, where you meet a lot of people and you get to know them. You get to find out, are these the qualities, the values that they have that appeals to me? Do they understand me? Are they interested in understanding me? There's less distraction because, to be fair, if they're in their house, they can't look at another woman, another man walking by. Mm-hmm. It's one-on-one. You know, you got to know each other. And it's also, you can kind of also be your true self. Because it's a case of, you know what, if you are becoming creepy or you're becoming abusive, I can literally just press X and you're gone. Mm-hmm. That's it. So there's, you know, so there's a bit more security. And I will honestly say, open yourself up to talk to different types of people, because going on a dating site does not necessarily mean you have to date there. You can get friends out of it. You can even get business connections out of it. That's the truth. But you're widening your circle. And we're in a world now where the world is smaller by virtue of technology. So why not cast your net far, like Plenty of Fish, hence the reason why it's called Plenty of Fish. I'm not recommending it, but you know, Plenty of Fish is okay. But what I'm saying is that, you know, cast your net and get to know a lot more people and increase your network, because you will learn so many things from so many people. You know, I have experienced Plenty of Fish. I've experienced Tinder. I've experienced Match.com. I have experienced Bumble. I have, which other one? I'm trying to remember. I've experienced them, and they've not all been bad and they've not all been great. But the truth is, I have some people that are now my friends, lifelong friends, that I can pick up and say, oh, what do you think about this? And they now give me advice from a different perspective because they don't think the way that I do. So I would say to anyone, dip your toe in. Don't wait for the conventional, because the conventional is no longer the conventional anymore. Things are changing.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that, Ife.
No worries.
So you heard it, guys. I'm going to come to you shortly, Ahuna. I have a question here before I come to you, and then I'll go to Jackie, just because of time. I'd love how women should take care of themselves. I'm talking mental and physical well-being. Women are notorious for thinking of themselves last.
That's Jacqueline.
Jacqueline, are you able to? Because I think you should be able to.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I was just that's my question, because a lot of times one of the things that we're also seeing during this pandemic, even though I must say that for those of you over there, I think it's been more strict. The lockdown has been stricter than what we've had over here. But even at that, we've had cases of domestic abuse rising. A lot of women, the time when the husband would leave the house, the kids would be in school, quite a lot of women, many of them business women, or even, the girlfriend, it would be time, especially for those who live together, it would be time for one to just put up their legs and relax for those precious minutes of silence in the house. And that is no longer there. There's really no place where any woman can go and hide, so to speak, for that required time that she needs to realign. And so you find that quite a number of women that I've seen are letting themselves go even more than before. There's a lot of women are grappling with weight gain during this time, because they just find themselves eating without thinking. I mean, you're in the kitchen 24/7, even more than you were before the pandemic hit us. And so a lot of women, many of us, think about ourselves last. That is, even if we would think at all about ourselves. If for a lot of women, if they had to name the people that they feel desire or require their care, a lot of women wouldn't even mention themselves. And so, I mean, I'd love to hear from all of you how you think women can take care of themselves too during this pandemic. I know that it's the whole topic is about how you can make, enrich that relationship that you're having, because of course a lot of people splitting up, and the divorce rates going high. But also, it's also important to love oneself. And so how can you do this when those little respites that you used to have before, like the quiet time, not being in the kitchen 24/7, especially for women who still have young kids that you can't just say, okay, you know what, it's your turn in the kitchen this today. How can those women take better care of themselves?
Thank you, Jacqueline. And I guess that question has been thrown out to anybody. I see Collier is in the house. I'm going to ask her to unmute herself. Hi, Collier. Good evening.
Good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you. So just to buttress on what I think is Jacqueline that said something that So with regards to being at home in the lockdown and having to sit at home, from what you've said, first and foremost, I'm going to use myself as an example. Is the best thing, first of all, is to tell yourself the truth and have the right mindset. you know, it's a lockdown, but you are not locked down. So it depends on what people call lockdown. It depends on what you've called the lockdown. And, you know, having to say yes, you're more at home, sitting at home, eating or doing things, you can actually do a lot of things. I, for one, the lockdown gave me a lot of, you know, chances to do so many things that, you know, naturally, if I was going to work, I wouldn't have been able to do it, like decluttering. You know, there's so many things that you can do. And also, with regards to maintaining your mental stability and, you know, your physical health, my mentor is actually sitting right here, and she is a big challenge to me. Every morning, if I'm lying on the bed at 6 o'clock, I hear her voice in my subconscious, and I just get up, wear my trainers, and I go out on a long walk. So you could do things that, you know, you feel comfortable, things that, you know, you can contain. And that way, you can also get your, you know, sometimes if you're under pressure and things, by the time you go out, you're processing it, you're thinking about it, and that way you're able to say, okay, I could have done it this way, I could do it this way. But when you're sitting in an enclosed place, you're there all the time, every day, sometimes you're not going to be able to think straight. You'll be like you are caged in a box. So personally, I would say just take a stroll, you know, get some fresh air in, you know, sit down, relax, play. You can, if you're the type that likes music, you could put out soft music, calm yourself down with a glass of wine. If you're the one that drinks, water and lemon like me, just go ahead with it. So, you know.
Thank you so much, Kolyan. It's lovely to see you, and I hope to see you in the future. Definitely. Okay, another question. Young people, relationship breakdown, not together, hence less intimate moments. How can they engage better, and how can parents help? You know why I'm not going to throw that to you, Anna, because if the parents are anything like my father, come to my house as a young person, they'll use stick. So we'll come to you in a minute, because it would be nice, though, to be honest. Nigeria has really moved on from that. So I would love to hear your take on that. But Ife, the young people that we see in the UK today, you know, like Fridays, everybody's going somewhere. Now you're only allowed really to be with the people in your bubble. How can we help them as parents? Some of us have 21-year-olds, so it's technically okay for them to have a boyfriend, a girlfriend, whatever, but they're not together. What can we do as parents, and how can we help them to manage this situation, to keep their intimacy with their partners, boyfriends or girlfriends?
What I would say, I like the fact that you had to put 21. Technically, they can have. Yes. But okay, on a serious note, truth of the matter is that what you can do is ask them about their partners. How are they doing? Have you spoken to them? Are you guys having any problems? Give them the opportunity to talk to you, to de-stress, so that they don't take that frustration that they're feeling onto their partner that they can't see. Because you're right, at that age, their relationship is very tactile. They're having sex, in effect, or kissing or whatever. It's very tactile. So in this situation, if the boyfriend or the girlfriend is not in your home as part of your bubble, there's a frustration that happens because they're young, is what they do. So it's you as a parent to give them opportunity to speak about their partner. Say, have you called her? Why haven't you called? Okay, don't you think you should give her a call? Oh, she's, well, okay, why do you know? Just ask them the question. You're almost kind of being like their own coach. Yeah. To get them to talk through whatever it is in their head, the assumptions that they're making, because remember, they're all on social media. So they're monitoring each other on social media. So, oh, he liked that, said that on Snapchat, or was on WhatsApp, didn't speak to me. A lot of, I mean, it happens to us in our 40s, much less, and 50s, much less at their age. So, you know, there's a lot of things going on in their head. So it's giving them the opportunity to speak to you and have a conversation so that it doesn't spill into their relationship and then cause a issue where there really isn't an issue just because there's no other outlet. And also then encourage them to say, if you're feeling hurt by what he or she has done, speak to them about it. Don't accuse them. Just say, this is how I felt, because no one can argue with how you feel. Just tell them, change the language a bit. Just say, this is how I felt when you didn't respond to my WhatsApp, or you didn't respond to my Snapchat, or I saw you on Insta, and whatever the case may be. This is how I felt. And give them opportunity to actually respond to that. But what I'll say to parents, you're going to kind of be like the coach. If you really like their partner that they have, then you're going to be the relationship coach in the house, provide them with the safe space to have open and honest conversations with you. Even if you don't like what they're telling you, please don't tell them off, because what you do is you shut down that communication route, and they will never come back to you. And that's not what you want. So just listen, even if you don't agree with it, give your advice from an honest perspective. Don't shove your own beliefs down their throat. Give them the room to be able to express themselves. Give them the chance to make a good choice for themselves, for their relationships, and trust that you've raised them well to make good decisions.
Thank you so much. Ify, that was amazing. And I will come to you, Ahunna, because I do want to hear, you know, for the Nigerian families, you know, who are in lockdown, some of their kids who are allowed, because we know how it is back home. It's a different, you know, culture, right? What advice would you give to such parents who are facing this kind of dilemma?
We're not there yet. We're not there. Okay. Unfortunately, we're not there yet, but we are getting there. Okay. We're not there yet, but we are getting there. We must get there, you know. So what I tell parents is this period, like I always say, talk to your children, laugh more with them, communicate more with them, and they'll open up to you. We suffer from denial. We don't want to believe that our children are, you know, making out, they're having relationships and all that. So we just get blinded. It's only the day they say, okay, mommy, this guy wants to marry me, or this I want to marry, then you think that they've just started. We should be open. We should be open with our children, otherwise they will make mistakes. In my own house, I always tell my child, have you called your friend? What are you discussing? Have you called? I even talk with my children's friends. I ask them, have you started having boyfriend? Mommy, no, if I have, I'll tell you. You know, we joke about it. But I want them to know that I'm open to that kind of conversation, even if we're not having it right now. So parents should know, if you pretend or deny yourself that your children are not doing this, and they will make a grave mistake. So the best thing for you is to open up to them, tell them stories, even make up stories and tell them. And you see them, even to know the opinion of your children is very, very important. Give them scenarios, you know, make up stories, even real ones, tell them, and then hear their own views so that you know their thought trail, you know the kind of things they're thinking of. So you correct them before they make that mistake. So we suffer from denial here. Some people are there, but the percentage is not much. Your children can't come up to you. They can't say certain things where you are. They can't wear certain kind of clothes where you are. And then when you see them outside, you won't believe they're the ones. So it's difficult. So I'm open. If you tell me, oh, mommy, I want to wear that short thing. Oh, wear it. If you feel comfortable, wear it. And then when you wear it and you want to go out, and you start pulling it down, say, if you're not comfortable, why don't you go and change it? So you know that, you know, it's not like you don't wear it and then when mommy is not there, you do it. When dad is not there, you do it. So they know these things. So they're more comfortable, they're open with you. Brilliant. You know, that we're not there yet. No, we're not there yet, but we're getting there.
That I'm happy, you know, you've been able to balance to what Ify said, because obviously in the UK, we are here. So we needed to know, okay, so how do we deal with it? And obviously in Nigeria and maybe some other countries, based on the different culture, you're not there yet. But the point of the matter is, like you said, open lines of communication. Let there be that road that the kids can feel confident enough to come to you and say X, Y, Z. So awesome. Thank you, Ahunna and Ify again. I think there's another question. Hold on, let me see if I want to, before I ask that question, want to bring in Martha, because Martha is our youth engagement worker, and you know, I'd love to hear from you, Martha. I know you've probably been on another Zoom because you do pop in and out, so thank you for popping back again. We would like to hear your take. I'm sure you've heard most of what has gone on this evening with the youngsters and the COVID, and possibly those that could be in relationships and not seeing themselves now.
Someone said the first thing someone said is talk to them, and you said ask them about the other person. How is such and such doing? What are they up to? You know, have you been talking? You know, that's very important because you're showing an interest in that person.
Yes.
And when you show an interest in the people that they're interested in, you get them to be more comfortable with you. And that's what I found my son, I've got a 19-year-old. And then at one point there was a girlfriend. So I made an effort to ask, how such and such? How is she doing? You know, what's going on in terms of how is she coping with lockdown? What are her parents like with lockdown? You know, and just a day-to-day mask, sanitizer, just general day-to-day conversation. That way they'll open up to you.
Okay.
Rather than setting them back, don't do this, don't do that, don't do that. If you go from that angle and show that just basic conversation, you find that they will just tell you stuff. I know, you know, young people might say to you, oh, like, she's just too much. I just, you know, they're just too much, and they won't open up. But without pushing, you just have simple conversations, and that's what I find works.
Okay.
Day-to-day simple conversations.
Okay. You heard Ahunna's take on what we're talking about. Nigeria is not there yet. You coming from the Caribbean community, are you able to shed any light on this situation within the Caribbean community, the lines of communication?
When I was growing up, no, we weren't there.
Okay.
Now we are.
Right.
We can have open conversations. I think my generation, we have learned from the generation before, where parents didn't speak to you, they spoke at you.
Yeah.
You hid things from them because they didn't try to understand. They just had their boundaries. I mean, when I was growing up, there were 6 girls and 1 boy in my house. No male person can pass the gate. Whether they look at you, they're not looking at you, they just couldn't pass the gate. That's just how it was. You know, so but with my generation, you find there's more an openness. I think you try to undo what was done before. So you have those communication lines open. And what's interesting about it, as much as our parents were like that and didn't talk to us, they admire the way we have that sort of communication with their grandchildren. And you find that they can now have that conversation with their grandchildren, the conversation they couldn't have with their own children. So I think we have paved the way now because we haven't continued that generational blockage of not showing that emotion, of not having those lines of communication open. We have actually opened that to allow young people now to just talk to you. And I think what's more interesting as well, it's when the young people from the UK and the US go back home and hang out with their grandparents, they open their eyes as well because they see things differently. Because we, you know, as I said, we didn't speak to our parents, and our parents didn't really speak to us. They spoke at us. They put a roof over your head, to send you to school, and they clothe you, and that was love. But when they can now see that I would be laughing and joking with my teenager, it's like, oh, okay, that's different.
Yeah.
You know, I was just today self, I was having a conversation with him about a TV program. And he said to me, Mom, you might not like it because I heard there's a lot of sex going on in it. And, you know, you couldn't have that conversation now. We couldn't have that. We couldn't have that with our parents.
No.
We just couldn't. So yes, we are getting there, much better to when I was growing up.
Okay. Thank you so much for that, Masa. It's really nice to get the different takes on the different various communities, and to hear that the Caribbean community is now has those open lines. That's amazing, because obviously you find that with that it strengthens relationships, because those lines of communication are there. Like you rightly said, our parents used to talk at us, but I think our generation have learned not to do that. So this is why our kids can come to us and say to us XYZ, and I'm not sure I was able to do that as much as my kids can do now. So yeah, awesome. Okay, yeah. We can't move from different languages and religion in relationships. That's a statement. I'm not totally sold. I don't really understand. Is this a statement, or can we move from different languages and religion in relationship? I'm going to come back to this question. I'm going to get some clarification, and I will come back to this question because it's being thrown out in Facebook. But I always like to get the exact question, throw it to you, so that the answer is correct. Just before we get to that question, next week will be the last week on our relationship program, and I would love for you to please come back and shed some more, because honestly, we're getting some amazing feedback. I mean, if we do nothing on this program, what I would love to achieve is, to get a testimony of, based on what one of your experts said or somebody on the program shared, this worked for me, that worked for me, and as a result, XYZ has happened, and we're not divorcing again, or we were separated, we're no longer, or our relationship is so much better, and I'm sure that is why you both do what you do, because that is the kind of impact you're hoping to have on people. So, thank you for what you do, because it's not easy to do what you do, and I'm sure you have to go into people's relationship and hear some certain things that might be uncomfortable for even you as experts. But I think if you said, there was a statement, you said we have to learn to be uncomfortable.
Learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
That was it. We need to learn to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And the uncomfortable, give us some examples of the uncomfortable.
So the thing about it, from our community, which is where I focus on, and when I say our community, I'm talking about the Black community and the Asian community and the Jewish community, where we have religion and cultural barriers that prevent us from truly being vulnerable and open and create intimacy in our relationships, is the thing of expressing your desires. So when Jacqueline mentioned what she said about the husband being uncomfortable with the wife knowing what they wanted, is exactly what we're talking about, is getting the husband to a position where he's comfortable and understand that his wife being open about her desires and wants and needs is to their benefit. Yeah. So it's no longer he doing a guessing game or him being selfish. It's mutually beneficial and mutually enjoyable. So it's those kind of things of getting, and also getting our community comfortable with opening up. We don't like to talk because we think that if we say there's something wrong in our relationship, we are bad.
Yeah.
And it's not true. Relationships need help like any other thing in life needs help. You can't always do it on your own. Even having the right conversation is an art. Sometimes you need someone to help you, to guide you through that conversation, because you want a particular outcome. But if you don't know how to position the conversation in a way to get you that outcome, at least close to that outcome, then you're wasting your time. So it's being open and say, you know what, I've got a problem and I want to resolve it. Ladies, being comfortable, saying what you want. Also, even going back to what Jacqueline said about, how do women take take care of themselves. We've got to take it by force. You can't wait for someone to give you the opportunity to love yourself. No. You've got to take it by force. I like to use this quote: the kingdom of God suffered violent, and the violent take it by force. You take your time by force. Whatever it is that you love to do, you are going to put it into the schedule of the things you do in your family time. If you like to soak yourself in the bath, you take time and do it. And you tell everyone, this is my time. If it's the case that you want to indulge in chocolate, do so. But you cannot wait for someone to give you the permission. No one is going to crown you. You have to crown yourself. This is not the royal family. If you want to love yourself, you have got to start by telling people, I need to love myself so that I can love you. Take it by force. And these are the things that we need to get comfortable with asking for. Men, it's okay for you to say you're stressed. It's okay for you to say, you know what, I haven't got the answer today, but I will come back to you. You don't have to be macho and be a man in order to love, in order to head your family. Sometimes you don't know the answer. Sometimes you need help. Get comfortable with seeking help. Get comfortable with going to someone that you trust and opening up to them and saying, man, things are not easy for me. I need help. I need advice. When we get comfortable with these things, we will shift the paradigm and the way that we relate to one another.
Okay, awesome.
Can I just add, I'm glad you said that, Ify, because I did hear when Jackie mentioned about time. We need to set our boundaries. If we don't set our boundaries, others will set them for us. So as you said, soak in the bath, it's my time. No matter how old the kids are, you put the kids to bed if they're babies, and after 8 o'clock, that's my time. Set your boundaries, love yourself, because if you don't do it, someone will set those boundaries for you.
Awesome. I just want to quickly recognize Auntie Amma. Auntie Amma's in the house. Auntie Amma is she's our mentor, mine and Yemi's mentor. Auntie Amma is a trainer, consultant, and a registered expert witness assessor, and a Lifetime Achievement Award winner from the Kiliosemi Docklands Community Champion Award 2019. Auntie Amma, you are so welcome. I know you're listening. So it's nice to have you on, Auntie Amma. Good evening.
Good evening. Thank you very much.
You're so welcome, Auntie Amma.
I'm listening to you all. It's my listening evening.
Yes, I know. Thank you so much, Auntie Amma.
Thank you too.
So back to our program. So yes, thank you so much for that, Ify. And yes, I'm so happy that you guys are connecting. That the question now, it might be relevant, but so excuse me if it isn't, but we can't talk about the impact of religion and languages, tribes on relationships. The impact of, so I think the impact of religion and languages, so the different tribes, on relationships. Could that be where we're talking about in mixed marriages, I don't know.
I mean, to be honest, what I would say, and I mean, then I could, I can't answer the question because I kind of need a bit more clarity, because I don't know if she's saying that is it that religion is causing the barrier, is culture causing the barrier? So you kind of, and we're here next week, so we can definitely delve into it, but I'm not sure.
What I will do is I'll probably get, because the person's not online anymore, I'm going to get clarity, but the impact of religion and languages on relationships. So yeah, I think it's quite straightforward, really. This is basically talking, it looks like if I'm a Christian and I want to marry a Muslim, what impact would that have on our relationship? Or if I'm Yoruba and I want to marry from Kogi State, or if I'm Nigerian and I want to marry from Jamaica, what impact will that have on the relationship? And the reason I feel this person might have asked this is because, especially in the UK today, I hear parents say to their children who you can and cannot marry based on ethnicity, based on religion. So I'm thinking, what impact would these things, the religion and the ethnicity, have on the relationship? Does it mean a Jamaican cannot love me? Does it mean a Muslim cannot love me? How does the religion of the person or the ethnicity of the person affect how the relationship will pan out?
Looks like research for next week, isn't it?
Yeah, you know, if it's not something you can, you know, it would be amazing because the person will need clarity.
Let me just, just talk about the tribe, religion, maybe. But, when two people are in love, let's say you're Yoruba and one is Igbo, coming from the Nigerian aspect, unless you guys meet outside your environment, or you don't know anything about your what do you call it, culture. Now, if you want to marry a Yoruba person, it's communication between the two of you. If you're in London and you meet yourselves there, fine, maybe anything goes. But if you're coming home, for peace sake and for the love to stand, you tell your wife or your partner, the other partner, okay, in our place, this is the way we do things. Apart from people, I am a different person. Another person's mom is a different person. These are things she likes, and this you tell your wife, you communicate, or your partner. My mom doesn't like this. This is the thing she likes. In our place, married women are supposed to dress in a certain way. So let's, just for peace sake, dress this certain way. Do you understand? And then ab initio that this will not work or it would work. If you know it won't work, from the onset, let it not work, and then you go your separate ways. But if you know it can work, when you go down, Yoruba people kneel and to greet, and you're getting married to a lady and she's not Yoruba, you try and tell her, if you want to greet my father, you have to kneel. If you want to greet the elders, you have to kneel. What will it take? Will it cost your relationship because you cannot kneel? Unless you have a leg issue. If you don't have any leg issue, kneel for that time and then go your way. And then love conquers all. To me, love conquers all, because what is there? You kneel and greet your elders. And you see other people kneeling to you too. Do you understand what I'm saying? So you discuss this in religion. If you want to marry, you're Christian, you want to marry a Muslim, you should know. You should know what you would have discussed it, because you're an adult. You're not a child. So these things have to be discussed and agreed upon before you enter into any relationship. Because they be too rare, when love wins, when the love wins, these things you are overlooking are the things that will rear their heads, and then they'll cause the problem in the relationship. Yeah. So you better sort it out now. When you're in love, don't kneel down, don't greet them, it doesn't matter. The day she doesn't want the relationship again, she tells you, you did not kneel down for my mother, you didn't kneel down for my uncle. So you better sort it out, because when you're in love, you do anything goes. One day that same thing that goes will come and come to roost. So we have to discuss. Communication is key in everything. Communication is key. Awesome. You tell it's basic communication. Nobody says Yoruba cannot marry Igbo, but Yoruba should know what Igbo does, and Igbo should know what Yoruba does. You can't say you can't marry a white girl, or you're black, you can't marry white. You can't say you're Muslim, you can't marry Christian. We're all human beings, but you have to discuss. Are you going to take this? Are you going to live separate lives? When you start having children, are you going to be a divided family? Do you want that? Because these things will happen. Some people make rules, and I see them, that your mother will not come to my house, your father will not come to my house. Nobody knows. The future will tell who will come and who will not come. You understand? So now that we're in COVID, you're stuck with some people. Like some people were stuck with people that you can't leave the house, you have to stay there together. So you can't just make rules without thinking it through. So if you're in a relationship, think it through. Think it through, talk about it. So what's going to happen? If I go to Nigeria now and your parents, what am I going to do? You have to talk about it. Don't let somebody say, oh, wave it aside. No, communication is key. You have to communicate.
Thank you so much. And we have come to the end. But before we go, I'm going to hand over to Yemi to say a few words. It's been, honestly, it's been awesome. Thank you so much, guys. I'm in awe. You know, for those of us that are, or not me, but people, there will be people out there that would have really needed to hear some of what has gone out today. So, you know, thank you guys and all our contributors. Thank you so much. Yes, Yemi, go ahead.
I just want to say thank you. You've done great, Giz. We need to send you a bottle of water. Just hold it down. No, thank you so much, everyone. It's really been an awesome evening. I've sat here and I've just absorbed so much and so many answers to some of my questions. And it's been amazing seeing people come from Facebook as well. The questions, I've just been quiet because I've just been typing and replying and throwing questions to you that people have sent. I think it's a topic or an issue that has been on people's minds, so they're kind of able to let out and absorb all that we've been talking about today. I really just want to say thank you to everyone who's been on Facebook, and if anyone has missed it, we do have a YouTube channel, and this our discussions go out straight out onto our YouTube channel. We'll put the link in as soon as it's done, and also Instagram. So it's out there. I just want to say have a lovely evening, guys. Please stay safe. Please stay healthy. Use your masks, wash your hands, and God's protection over everyone. Take care.
So, guys, we are going to be back next week, and we will focus on the last part of this relationship. You know, COVID is here. It's real. It's we're all stuck indoors, and then some of us are stuck indoors, and then our half is stuck indoors the other side. So it's not really funny, you know. So when we come back next week, what we would love to do is to look at, you know, yes, we've talked a lot about strategies, but I would like us to focus on, yes, we talk about a lot about married people, but I would also like us to focus a lot on some of the young ones. And when I say the young ones, I'm not just talking about the teenagers, young relationships, you know, the young relationships. So maybe people that have just married, people that just got together, new relationships. Let's see what we can put out there for them. So, you know, by the time you guys come back next week, I know you're going to have some amazing tidbits for us. But yeah, if we can look at that, because I know I've had a couple of people ask me, how can they, and they haven't come on. So I will get back to them to see if they can come on for next week. Okay. So, you know, Duchess, Ife, and Ahuna, thank you guys so much. You guys are absolutely awesome, amazing. Keep doing what you do. You know, I'm proud. You know, I love to see where my sisters are growing, and you know, when you drop your on next week, just drop your handles, all your social media handles. You know, that's our job. Saffron doesn't grow alone. You know, we're a family, and once you come on here, you become part of the family. You know, and for those of you that know me, I'm a nurturer. I baby everybody, I mother everybody. So you're like my kids, you know. So I want you to grow, because then when I'm old and in my 90s, some of you will probably be in your 95. Stop, you're older than me. But the point is, we all grow together, and that is a thing. So please drop your handles for us next week, and yeah, we will. Thank you, Awolu Mate. You said Miss Tolu Makiwa invited you. Awesome. Awolu Mate has been listening attentively. Thank you so much for coming on. This is your first time, I take it. I hope I said your name correctly, because I really don't like to get people's names wrong. Awolu Mate, thank you for coming on, and we hope that you will come on to Saffron. Thank you, Kolia. Kolia, this is your first time. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you on. Jackie, all the way from Kaduna, God bless you. Thank you so, so much for coming on. Marcia, as always, Marcia's amazing. She comes on, jumps up to another Zoom and comes back on again. And she just looks like she's been sitting there all evening. So thank you, Marcia, for coming on. And Auntie Amma, as always, God bless you. We love you. Thank you for always coming in to check up on us. Have a good evening, everybody. Please stay safe. COVID is real.
Take the vaccine if you can.
Yeah, okay. And we'll see you all next week. All right? Okay. Take care. Have a good one. Good night.
Good night, everyone.
Good night to
Thank
Facebook
you.
family. Thank you, Facebook
Thank
family.
you. Thank you, all the speakers. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.